Hey, what's your secret? You got the kind of vibe that leaves me speechless. It could be model multitasking genius. Yeah, you got it all. Hey, what's your story? A kick-ass mom and 40 under 40. It's soccer practice in your high heel glory. Yeah, you do it all. Hey, buttercup, won't you listen up? I'm a woman, stronger than what you would believe. Way more than what's plain to see. You either got it or you don't. I'm a woman, just what I'm about to do. Wouldn't get in my way if I was you. You either get it or you don't. Hey, tell me something. How do you do it all while never budging? You rule the world but make it look like nothing. Such a boss. Hey, true or false? It take about 20 men to do your job. The kingdom never fails when there's a queen in charge. Girl, don't stop. Hey, buttercup, won't you listen up? I'm a woman, stronger than what you would believe. Way more than what's plain to see. You either got it or you don't. I'm a woman, just what I'm about to do. Wouldn't get in my way if I was you. You either get it or you don't. I'm a woman. You either got it or you don't. I'm a woman. You either get it or you don't. You better know there's no one out there strong. If you went around, then nothing would ever get done. You better be proud of the way that you are. Come on, and raise a little X love. I'm a woman, stronger than what you would believe. Way more than what's plain to see. You either got it or you don't. I'm a woman, just watch what I'm about to do. Wouldn't get in my way if I was you. You either get it or you don't. I'm a woman. You either got it or you don't. I'm a woman. Just watch what I'm about to do. Wouldn't get in my way if I was you. You either get it or you don't. I'm a woman. I'm a
Don't wanna get closer. If you're playing with my mind, it ain't fair. Don't wanna spend my energy. Give my attention if yours ain't there. I don't wanna give you the best of me. If you're just gonna give the rest, you see, I don't play the long game unless I'm your end game, babe. So don't you do it to me what you wouldn't want somebody to do to you. Follow the golden rule, we won't have no problems. Hey, don't you go making a fool of me. Don't make no mistake loving you. But if you're running around on me, let me spell it out for you. ITGAS. If I'm not the one you're missing, the one you wanna call when you're feeling low, if I'm not the only one you're kissing, then I don't care, I don't care. The one you're looking for in the crowd, the one that calms your mind when it gets too loud. If I'm not the one you want around, then I don't care, I don't care. IDGAF, nah. IDGAF, nah. Not gonna wait up all night While you're making other plans, it ain't right. Not gonna waste my time on someone who can prioritize. I don't wanna give you the best of me if you're just gonna give the rest. You see, I don't play the long game unless I'm your end game, babe. So don't you do it to me what you wouldn't want somebody to do to you. Follow the golden rule and we won't have no problems. Hey, 1, 2, 3. If I'm not the one you're missing, the one you wanna call when you feel low, I'm not the only one you're kissing. And I don't give a the one you're looking for in the crowd, the one to calm your mind when it gets too loud. If I'm not the one you want around, then I don't give a IDGAF, nuh-uh. IDGAF, nuh-uh. IDGAF, nuh-uh. IDGAF, nuh-uh.
When I feel lost, I don't feel afraid, 'cause I've been around this enough to lift the chain. What does it cost for you to feel free? Make it in your stride, try to stay the night and breathe. Ooh, I know you think it's all figured out, but things change. Even when it hurts, hold on to what you know. Even when it burns, it's never gonna burn you down. You can take it all, so take whatever comes your way, 'cause you're strong. Stronger than you know, stronger than when you feel caught out. Don't let the words let you drown. Take all of the sound and throw it to the wind. All of it is noise, trying to throw you off your track. Don't let it win, don't let it turn back. Ooh, I know you think it's all figured out, but things change. Get ready for the change. But even if it hurts, hold on to what you know. When it burns, it's gonna burn you down. You can take it all, so take whatever comes your way, 'cause you're strong. 'Cause you're strong. Even if it hurts, hold on to what you know. Even when it burns, it's never gonna burn you down. You can take it all, take whatever comes your way. 'Cause you're strong, yeah, you're stronger than you know. Strong, stronger than you know. Strong. But even if it hurts, hold on to what you know. Even when it burns, it's never gonna burn you down. You can take it all, so take whatever comes your way, 'cause you're strong. 'Cause you're strong. Strong. Stronger than you know. I know you're the color in the lines type. Never shake things up kind. Don't speak your own mind. I know you, everything has limits. Obey, don't ask questions. And you're the one trying to make me listen. My head was made for the clouds. Want me, come get me, I'm not coming down. Are you mad? I don't care. Don't understand? I don't care. I'm just here to pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop. I'm just here to pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble. I think you can control me, but you don't really know me, so I'm just here to pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop. I know you, dreams are way too risky. Scared of anything you find too tricky. Don't let me, I'm too witty. I know you, with your do's and do nots, trying to get me to stop, but you're in for a shock. My head was made for the clouds. Want me, come get me, I'm not coming down. Are you mad? I don't care. Don't understand? I don't care. I'm just here to pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop. I'm just here to pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble. You think you can control me, but you don't really know me, so I'm just here to pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble. I'm just here to pop your bubble. I'm just here to pop your bubble. You think you can control me, but you don't really know me, so I'm just here to pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop. I'd rather go to jail and live a life completely boring. I'd rather ask forgiveness than permission, cause it's funny. I think it's funny. I'm just here to pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop. I'm just here to pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop. You think you can control me, but you don't really know me, so I'm just here to pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop. I'm just here to pop your bubble. I'm just here to pop your bubble. I'm just gonna pop your bubble, baby. You think you can control me, but you don't really know me, so I'm just here to pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop, pop your bubble, pop. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the workshop for today. So, some of you might know me from one of the 3 workshops I did earlier this week or from anything else. But if you don't know me, I'm Danielle, and a little about me. I just graduated from the University of Virginia, and I'm gonna work in mobile app development when I start working. So we can wait for a few more people to show up. Let me see here. And if you went to any of my last workshops, I know I said I was only doing those 3, but surprise, I'm doing a 4th one now. That's why it says Hack with Anuya instead of Danielle. But go ahead and check in using the link that's displayed. I sent it earlier, but I'm gonna send it again just in case you didn't see it before. And hello. More highs. So I just dropped the check-in link. Make sure you check in so your guild can get points for that. And today we're doing a Pong game in Pygame. And if you do not know what Pong is, I sent a link again earlier in the chat. If you just look up Pong on the internet, then it's a really simple game. Here, I'll pull it up so that, because I was going to play it a little bit while we got started. Let's see, zoom in there. I'm going to add it to stream. So this is Pong. I'm going to play with only 1 player, except even on easy mode, the AI has been dominating me. We'll see how this goes. This is the best I've played so far, and I'm talking. This is only the 2nd point I've played. The AI was destroying me like 8 to 1 last time. So hard to play and also talk at the same time. Yeah, but we are going to, can I pause this? Okay, yeah. So we are going to be playing. Oh, someone said, fun fact, Pong is one of the first games I've ever made. Was it in Python by chance? Because that would be really cool. But if you want to use the same IDE as me, I'm going to be using VS Code again, but you can use it whatever you want. VS Code is kind of hard to work with Pygame because you have to use the command line to install it, but I can also include my instructions to install it as well.
Okay, this is what I said. So to install it, you can do just make sure you have the most recent version of Python installed. It doesn't necessarily have to be the most recent version. Just make sure you have Python installed. Wait, let me zoom in on this. Control plus plus plus. Okay, there we go. Yeah, just make sure you have the most recent version of Python installed, and then you can install pip as well, and then you can run this command. It might also be look like this Python, or might look like this pip install Pygame. There's many variations of what might work. Python 3 pip install Pygame. Those are like 3 options that might work for installing pip. This is the one that worked on my computer. Like, just VS Code really sucks when it comes to that stuff. Hello, Adam. Nice to see you in the chat. So, yeah, I'll give you all a second to get all of that installed, and then we can get into some actual coding. I can show you all the practice game I made yesterday. See a pop-up. This is I got made fun of. It's just simply just me, and I drop in from the top of the screen because I was practicing working with gravity. I was thinking about doing a scroll game at first, but then I was like, oh, Pong will be more beginner friendly and simple, so let's do that instead. And if you guys went to the hydration workshop, you better have your water on you. I got a whole gallon this time. I want to see empty glasses by the end. You all have better been tracking your water. 8 cups a day. And then, of course, we'll take our hour stretch, and we'll take our break stretch after an hour to make sure we're getting our bodies moving. Someone should make we should have made one of the workshops and do a 20-20-20 counter. You know, like you're supposed to look away from the screen every 20 minutes for 20 seconds and look at an object 20 feet away. We should have made a counter as our mobile app or something so that we can get notified to look away all the time. Oh yeah, drop your guilds in the chat. I want to see those guilds. Okay, so I'm gonna assume, and micro club, of course, all the micro clubs, but I think we're ready to get started. Pineapple Party presented by Blahaj Gang. That's nice. Shout out. Okay, so let me get my screen set up and ready. Okay, let's see. There we go, and there we go. Okay, everything's set up on my end. So we can go, assuming everyone's okay, you can feel free to type in the chat if you do not have Python or Pygame installed. I can see how we can help you. But if you're all ready, then you can do Python. I'm going to do Global Hack Week, share, Pong is what I'm going to title my project. Spong. Okay. And then going over our basics, you should, of course, import Pygame and make sure that is working. And then we can go ahead. Oh, oops, I forgot to do my .py rename. I think it just I auto realized that it was Python, but well, that it's did that. And then we can do print hello world just to make sure everything is working correctly. And if it is correct, you should see hello world from the Pygame community. Well, hello from the Pygame community and hello world print out with no errors. If you're using VS Code, it might be buggy, so it might be better to go to an outside terminal. But that's all up to you. And by the way, don't feel free to like code in something else. This is more of just like a hack with me activity. And if you want to like work on a different hack and just have me in the background so that you can feel like part of the community, then that's perfectly okay as well. It's all just about being together as a community, creating whatever we wish. And if you also know Pygame or in Python and you want to maybe like stretch to a different language and code in a different if you want to code in a different language or if you want to create a more advanced game, feel free to do that as well. So we can go ahead and do pygame.init. So I'm first going to start with just explaining like the basics to what you need to have. Get started with a something Python, but we're gonna for every Pygame we're gonna need pygame.init, and then this is just your general setup stuff. I'm gonna try to keep everything well commented. General setup. Oops. And then we're also gonna need a screen. I'm just gonna name mine screen. And it's gonna equal pygame.display set mode 800 comma 600, and you can choose any numbers for these two parameters. The reason why I did 800 and 600 is because it's like if you saw me play at the beginning, it was a pretty good screen. And to answer this question, will we have access to your code after this session? I can do the paste site that we did before. What is it called? Let me look at paste then thing that we did before. I have two-factor on my GitHub, and then I broke my phone, so I'm locked out of my GitHub completely, and I've been too lazy to contact anyone about fixing it. So I might just make a new GitHub, and I'll do Pasteben so that you can have access to the code at the end. And okay, so back to the main setup. So that's going to be our screen, and this is just saying it's going to be 800 pixels horizontally and 600 vertically. Paste recycling. Okay, Adam wanted to say it's 2022. We shouldn't be putting things in the bin. I recommend paste recycling. And that is correct. Unfortunately, I don't have a recycling bin, so we cannot do that. But anyway, at the end, of course, we're going to have pygame.quit to do all the cleanup. This is just the closing code. And then how we can get things running is by using, so this is going to be where we put the beef of our code. So how this code is going to work is we're going to have like pretty much this, whatever is in this section of code right here after like our beef of code comment over the closing code comment, we're going to have a while loop that's going to say running equals true. Then while it's running, we're going to have X happen. And then we're going to end with pygame.display.update. So now going into what this actually means is we're pretty much going to have a while loop that's going to be running over and over and over and over again as long as the user wants the game to keep going. And this will make more sense when we start actually applying, and I can show you like common errors that might occur. But the idea is we just want this, we're redoing what the user is seeing visually every like tenth of a second. We're going to redo what's on the scene. So instead of like, it's like we're taking a snapshot, a picture, and every second we're like editing the picture slightly, a little bit like clay animation where you move the character's arms just a little bit at a time. That's what we're doing here. So, and that'll make more sense if for a lot of you when we actually start doing some of this. Oh, and yes, feel free to drop your guild in the chat. I love to see them. So then some more just general good base code to have is this. pygame.event.get. This is how you're going to close your game off. If event.type equals pygame.quit, we have running equals false. Okay, again, with the people commenting their guild is guildless, I'm still not sure if that is a guild or if you're saying you don't have a guild. Because some people, when they say that, they mean they don't have a guild, but I still don't trust it. I just don't trust you all for some reason. I feel like that's a lie you would definitely tell me. Okay, okay, that person confirmed they do not have a guild. And then to make things actually show up, I believe things will show up now, but let's run and check. Yeah, so now we just have, with this base code, we now just have this open window, nothing on it, just a black screen. I'll pause so we can just review this code. Feel free to drop any questions. Adam wishes to the person that is guildless to join Blahaj gang and drop the Discord, so feel free to do that if you want to. So I'm gonna give a second to look at that, if there's any questions, and then we can go on to just doing some base things. So one base thing you can do is just change the background color, and then the way you can do that is on screen dot fill 255 comma 255 comma 255, and then when we run it now, we just filled it with white. So this is just the color code you can use. And you can see it just mixing the three colors. A lot of you are probably familiar with this. But like you see, if I have 25 on the last one, it's just going to be blue. And if I have only one on this last one, it's like barely blue because 000 is black. And then 255, 255, 255 is white. But we'll go over what the rest of these colors are. The middle one is green. And then the first one is going to be red. So the first one's red, then the middle one's lime green, and the last one is royal blue. And we're going to go ahead and set this to black because it's just easier that way. For me, I'm going to write this is clearing the screen. And we can go over a little bit about what clearing the screen means in a little bit. Okay, moving on. Another quick thing, and that's going to be super helpful to understand right off the bat, is going over how to draw rectangles. So, that up. So to draw a basic rectangle, all you have to do is, and we're going to use a lot of rectangles here because the players themselves are going to be rectangles. The ball is just going to be a little square, which is basically a rectangle. And then we're going to have like walls and everything. So all of that is rectangles. But to draw a rectangle, we do pygame.draw.rect. And then we're going to have, the first variable is going to be your screen. And if you don't remember, we created screen up here. It's just it's just the little window we see. And then we need to have a color. We'll go ahead and just do red for the time being, or let's just do like 100 and see what that comes out as. I feel like if we do 100, 255, 255, maybe be a nice pink. On. Here. Oh yeah, I forgot to finish the code. So that was the color variable. And let me split up these variables actually so it's easier for you all to see. But color is going to be this one. And this is the color. And then we can have, and then we're going to have the actual rectangle value. And this is where we're going to say the, like, as you can see up here, this is where we're going to say where we want all the different dimensions of what we want all the different dimensions of the rectangle to be. So the first two variables are going to be the x and the y-axis, like where do we want it on the screen? And let's go ahead and just say 0, 0, so we can be familiar with where that is on the screen. I'll actually split these up so you can see the x-axis point, the y-axis point is going to be equal 0. And then the other variables it takes is the width and the height. Height. And we're going to make our width and height. We'll just go ahead and make it 20 and 100 so we can see a huge difference there. And then we can just plug those variables in. And run it. And then you can see we have now this little blue. I thought this would be pink, but we have a blue square in the corner. And welcome to the person who came and dropped in the chat. To catch you up, we're just doing some Pygame in VS Code. We don't have a lot set up yet, but if you would like to join us, go ahead and let me know, and I can paste Ben like the base code to you. But going on from there, now you can see we just have like all the basic stuff going on, and now oh no, hold on. I clicked play a few too many times while I had the other one open, so now it's going to open and close again. So now we can go into actually making the game now that we know a little more about like what's going on. So I'm going to erase all the random code we wrote and leave only the base code. There we go. So how we're going to make these games, since I'm going to go ahead and drop a paste pen with the base code for anyone who needs to catch up or just wants to have that as something that they can use in their arsenal. So let me go ahead and get this up. Give me 1 second. Go ahead and take a look at the code if you need some extra time to do that. Okay, and then I'll drop the link in the chat. Oh, so to answer the question on why is the link a hack with Anuya, so the reason for that is, which I should remove the banner, but the reason for that is, hold on, let me remove the banner first. Anuya was just busy, so then I picked up her stream yesterday. Okay, so I just dropped a pastebin in the chat, and this should lead to just my base Python Pygame code. Just some starter code that doesn't really do anything. Oh, and I should have included in that, I'm going to edit it real quick and include some extra notes about installation. It just says it's just like 3 steps. Let me do an edit. Okay. The pastebin should be updated now. Excellent. Okay. So my general rule for doing things with classes is I think anything that moves should have its own class. Anything that stays stable is fine with just being in the beef of our code section. So for our project, let's take a look at the Pong game so we can just look at how that's set up. So we have the two rectangle blocks of the characters and then a score at the top. And we can see that when the ball comes our way, it bounces off the walls. So see like the top wall and the bottom wall as being stable characters, so they can just stay in the beef of the code. But the players themselves and the ball, in my opinion, should be their own class. Which you can feel free to make them the other way, but it's fine. Wait, what do you guys mean? Are you gonna tell? Am I gonna tell you a story? What do you want to hear about? Oh, what's the name of the game we're creating? This is just Pong. Pong, the classic arcade game. I can drop the link to the website for anyone who wants to play again. I don't know if the link stayed. Let me get the link. What did I just close out of Pong? Where did my Pong go? My life story? Well, I cleaned my room today. If you can't see it because it's while I'm doing my laundry and stuff right now. But besides that, nothing's really happening. I just woke up and then cleaned my room. Looking, I can give you room tour later. But let me focus on the class and then I'll do it when we're dropping for letting people catch up. Let me see. Okay, so we're working on classes. People are so distracting. So, step next. Okay, so I'm going to make 2 classes. Okay, my room is very nice. You should appreciate it. I have vinyls in the corner. I have candles. I have flowers that were giving me an allergic reaction, so I had to like take all the pollen out of it. My room is very interesting. But let me pull up the classes. Okay, so to make a class in Python, I'm just going to make my class right above the beef of our code section so we can keep that straight. And I'm going to make 2 classes, one for the player and one for the ball. We'll start with just the player ones. So when you make classes, the first thing you need to do is make an init function. And the variables we're going to use there is X and Y because we want to say where we want the players to start is the first thing you would want to know when you initiate object. And then we're going to need the width and the height of the players, which we can also hard code in actually. So might as well hard code that in. Since the height and width of our players are always going to be the same thing. I guess you can do a hard mode by making the height like a lot smaller, but we're not going to have time for that. So then you just have to do self.y equals y, self.x equals x. That's just something you always have to do when initiating a function. And then we're going to take self.width since we don't want since this is going to be the same for every player, we don't have to make it a parameter. And we're going to go ahead and go with 10. And as the height, let's do 80. I can't remember what are good heights, but let's do that. Then the other thing we need is a draw function so that we can actually put the player on the screen. And then we start with our color. And then the color, I chose this pretty pink that I like. I looked this up yesterday, so I don't just have the color code memorized. But it's 255, 182, and 193 makes a pink. Feel free to play around with those colors and see if you come up with anything cool. And then, of course, remember this function from earlier? We need to actually draw the rectangle. So to go over that, that was pygame.draw.rect. No formula to remember that. You just have to have it memorized. And then you have the variables are screen, which is, again, the variable we made up here. And then we have to do the color, which is the variable we made right here. And then we have to do this pygame.rect thing again, in which we're going to take, we need, the parameters are your x-axis, your y-axis, and then the width and the height, which we can access from up here. So since we pass self as a parameter, we are able to access self here. So we can do self.x, self.y, and then we can do self.width, and we can do self.height. So then that's all we need to draw the character, and then we can see that in action in a second. So I'll give you all a second to look at that. Meanwhile, make sure you drink your water. Again, it's been about 20 minutes, so this is our chance to do the 20-second look away. I like to look out my window because it's a lot brighter. So everyone take your 20 seconds. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi, 11 Mississippi, 12 Mississippi, 13 Mississippi, 14 Mississippi, 15 Mississippi, 16 Mississippi, 17 Mississippi, 18 Mississippi, 19 Mississippi, 20 Mississippi. Okay, everyone did it right. You aren't lying to me. You better have actually done it. It's important for your eyes. You're going to get bad eyesight in the future. And also, make sure you have like your squishy pad so you don't get carpal tunnel. I already have carpal tunnel developing, and I'm only 21. So yeah, make sure you have all your proper posture things. Let me save that up. Okay. Now let's actually like put the player on the screen. So let's start with just one player. We can do player 1. And then we're going to have to use this player class we just created to create this player object. And then we see in our init function right here, all we need is an x and y axis. Self is one of the parameters, but Python's able to figure that out on their own. So first, for the x axis, let's just go ahead and start them off at 0. And then for the y, let's do halfway down our screen. So that's going to be about 300. About 300. So that it's as simple as that to create the player object. And then we can go on to actually draw that. And that's why we created this draw function up here. Now we can do player 1 dot draw. And if we run it, then right here, this pink box is what we just added. It's really tiny, but I'm actually going to make this 100 because I don't think I can. You saw how I played with like that AI. That was the best I've ever played in my life. I don't think I can play with a size of only 80. Okay, yeah, that's a better size. Okay, and then we can make our player 2. Player. And let's put them at X. So since our screen ends at 800, we can do 800, but then if we do it at 800, it'll be off the screen. So we need to take in mind that the width is 10, so we should do 790 to get it on the other end. A little bit of math there. And then I'm going to do 250 just because I don't like it visually when they're both lined up. And then we, of course, have to draw it again. Then if we run it, then we have both our player 1 and our player 2. And maybe we should have let's make it so we can also customize the color. So go ahead and add a color variable, and we can do self.color equals color, so that our players' colors could be different. And then the first one, we have to change up here to self.color. And then the first one could be the pink. And then let's try a random color for the second one and see what this ends up being. Let's reverse this. Let's do 100 with the red. Let's try Let's try 190 with the green. I don't know, I made up that random number. And then 255 with the blue and see what we get. Hey, that looks nice. Okay. That's actually my favorite color right there. So if you want to buy me anything, that is my favorite color. Just as reference. My birthday is in July. As you can also tell from my chair, it's also blue. So then we now have two players we can visually see. So instead of doing the ball object first, to keep things interesting, I think the first thing we should do is make them move. So making them move isn't actually that hard. What you can do is go into the beef of your code again. Oh, and real quick, let me okay, ignore what I just said. We're gonna do the movement first. And to get input from a keyboard, the code for that's the keyboard stuff. The code for that is to do key underscore input. This is just the variable I chose. You can choose something else. But then pygame dot key dot get underscore pressed. So then this will just tell you what keys have recently been pressed. And then you can do if key underscore input pygame dot k underscore up. And this just means if the up key is pressed. Then we want player 2. I chose player 2 because if you're thinking about it, player 2 is going to be the block on the right, and the block on the right is going to be the one using the arrow keys. So if player 2 clicks up, then we're going to want the Y, so this point of the block, to increase by, I do 0.5 because it actually moves quite quickly if you do a whole one, and I feel like 0.1 is even fast for me. Maybe I just have a slow reaction time. Oh, but that was the wrong way. It should be minus equals because that's inverted controls. Okay, try it. Minus equals 0.5. You press the up key and it moves the player up. So then doing down is really simple. You can just copy that code. I like to change it to an elif just to keep things tidy. And then you can do up and down instead of up. And then you switch it to a plus sign. And if you run that, your player should be able to do up and down now. As easy as that. And then we can copy the code for player 2. Copy this code and do it for player 2. You can code a bot for this, but that would require AI, so I will not be doing that today. But then I'm going to do W and S as the keys for this one, just because it's the easiest. And then we just got to change everything to player 1. And then that way it should work for player 1 and player 2 at the same time. So right now we already have a base of a game going. Oof. I'm already pretty mentally tired. Okay. So I'll give everyone another second to look at that code just in case anyone's catching up. But in the meantime, I'll think of a story. Let's see. What are some stories that I have? I usually would show off my hamsters, but my hamsters are at my parents' house right now because, well, I guess I can tell you one of them went missing, and that's odd because I don't know when they went missing. They were at, so I live in like in like the middle of Virginia, and my parents live at the top of Virginia. And in the middle of Virginia, so like I was at my house in the middle of Virginia, and I had two hamsters. But then like I guess like I didn't check if both of them were there before I left. But when I got to my parents' house, like there was only one. So I don't know where the other one went, and I haven't been able to find him. I looked for him all over the house, and I haven't had a single sign of that hamster. But their names were Burger and Fries. I don't know which one's left because they're twins. But maybe this is a sad story, but I don't know where my second hamster went. And I keep thinking like maybe like one day he'll just show up in my room because he has to be here. There's no way that he's at my house. He's escaped only once before. And no, don't say you want fries when I'm talking about my hamsters named Burger and Fries. The reason why I named them that is because they have two toys. One is a burger and one is fries. But then I feel like he'll just show up at one point, but I just don't know where he went. And like so the other time we lost them, it's because the cage was literally left open. My mom left it wide open when she was babysitting them, and only one of them ever left. Like the other one just stayed inside because he just wants to, I don't know, the other one knows that's where his food is at, but the other one, like the first one knows it's where his food is at, the second one loves to explore. So it's the second one that always escapes. The first one will never leave its cage. It loves its cage. But like the first one just wants to see the world, and I eventually found him underneath the fridge. But where when his fries on fries can fries isn't here, otherwise I would totally bring him on stream right now. He's not the biggest fan of me. He likes like my roommates and everyone else more. And is the other one now like really fat? So they take all their food from the bowl and they put it underneath underneath all the bedding, so that I never know how much food they actually have left. So I feed them like the same amount every single day. He's not The other one isn't fat, but I'm sure he's happier because like they're two males and don't get along all the time. But I'm just really I get so annoyed because they bring all the good food down to the bottom. So sometimes I give them too much food, and then when I go to clean out the cage, there's just like hundreds of like perfectly edible seeds at the bottom that they just leave there, and I don't want to throw away the edible seeds, so I just like put them back in the bag. But annoys me because I have to like pick out all the seeds because I don't want to waste them. But anyway, we can talk more about burger and fries later. Let's catch up to let's make the ball now. So for the ball class, how I designed this is very similar to how I designed the player, but but instead of just a draw function, it also needs a move function. So the reason why I didn't do a move function for the players is because their movement's very simple. The ball has a little more of an advanced movement because it has because I like to do mine so that it changes it with the x-axis and the y-axis at the same time. And so let's do class ball and then object. Oops, I just ran the code. Let's not do that. So class ball object, and then of course we need our init function to tell it what it needs to start with. And I'm going to put self x, y. Really, like all of this we can just manually put in. So we might as well just manually put all of this in. The reason why I just like making things editable in case we want to like change things to be more advanced in the future. But let's go ahead and just do self.x equals the middle of the screen. So if it's 800, 300, it's going to be about 400, and then self.y is going to equal about 300. Only I could type better. So then self.width. Let's do thinking about 80. Thinking about how big the bar was. Let's make this a 40 by 40 and start with that. Self dot height. This might be too big, but we'll see how this goes. And then we also want to give it some actual speed. So self dot move x. which is like how much it's going to move on the x-axis. And let's default set that to 0.1 because you can set it to 1, but I'm really bad at this game. So I set it to 0.1 so it moves super slow. Otherwise, I can never, like, I was trying last night and I just, when it was moving at speed 1, it wasn't even that fast, but I just couldn't hit the ball once. So then I also want to move it by y by 0.1 just so it doesn't go straight back and forth. That's why I move it by y as well, just to add a little variety in the game. So that's just the setup for the ball. And then let's do the draw function. Is 0. So the color, we can just do choose the color. Make up a random number again. Let's go. I'm just afraid of it looking like too much like the other numbers. Okay, let's go straight line. Straight neon green. And then we can return Pygame dot draw dot rectangle screen color. And then we have to do the weird Pygame stuff. Pygame dot rect. Pygame dot rect. And then let's do self dot x, self dot y, and then we have self dot width and self dot height. And then that should draw it fine. So let's go create the ball down here. And the reason why we do our P1, P2 stuff outside of the beef of our code is because we don't want it to recreate the object every single time. We just want it to do it the one time. We'll do ball equals ball. And then it has no variables inside. So it should just be fine like that. And then over here, we can do ball.draw. And then when we run it, it will say invalid because there are indentations wrong somewhere and I have to figure it out. So which line is it? Let me just look at it. Move, turn, draw. Where's my incorrect indentation? Wait, let me trash this terminal and rerun it. Yeah, sometimes the terminals are just messed up, and that is huge. So we're gonna turn the size of the ball down to 20 and give that a shot instead. Yeah, so that's looking good. So then the last thing we need here is the move function, so it actually moves somewhere. And for that, we're going to need self.x plus equals self.movex and self.y plus equals self.movey. And if we run, wait, let's do ball.move here. And then run it. Now it's moving a little bit. So real quick, before we do anything else, I want to show you what this screen.fill does. So let's see. So as you can see, without the screen.fill, then it just created this green line. You saw how the ball was moving, but now it's a green line. Because what screen.fill does is it rewrites over everything with just a black screen. So since we're not clearing the screen every single time and replacing it and like painting it over with black, all the screenshots from before are still showing. So that's why you need screen.fill in your code. So I want to make a keyboard input that does if keyboard input is space, then we want the ball to move then, because without it, I am a bad player and this will not work out well. I don't know what, it's K underscore space maybe? Yeah, that would work. And then, so if space is clicked, then we want ball dot move. And that's how they can start the game, because otherwise I will never be able to hit the ball. Oh no, it's doing a small it's doing it so that when I press space, the ball moves, but if I let go of space, it stops. So how we can fix that is by doing a variable called game start equals false. And then we can change this to, if the space is pressed, game start equals true. And then over here we can have if game start is true, then we want the ball to move. That way we don't have to constantly be pressing the spacebar to make it move. If anyone has any questions on how that works, feel free to ask in the chat. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave the ball code on the screen for another sec while I check the chat. So, Adam, you meant fries on the stream, like McDonald's on stream. Well, I don't like McDonald's, my opinion. I don't know. I watch too much Super Size Me, so I can't do it anymore. I try to reduce the amount of meats I eat. I still eat fish, but sometimes I'll still I'll still eat like meats if like someone made it for me. I'll eat it, of course. Or if we're going to like a specialty restaurant or like a state that has a lot of steaks, like if they're known for like if I go to Philadelphia and they're known for Philly cheesesteaks, I'll go to Philadelphia and eat Philly cheesesteaks. Because I still want to experience the world, but besides that, I have one dog. His name's Peter. He is 15 years old as of July. Well, as coming in July, he'll be 15 years old. He's blind. He has palsy, so he shakes. He has a heart murmur, so sometimes he passes out when he gets too excited. But still on a walk, that dog will pull and drag me because he is the fastest walker for such an old man. Like he looks and acts like an old man, but when you take that dog on a walk, he sprints. He's so quick. So the doctor actually said that his blood tests are showing he has good blood and that he's likely to live for another 2 years since he has the blood of like a dog younger than him. And he's just like I feel like COVID being home with him has increased his lifespan because he's just so happy now. He's just such a happy little old dog, and I feel like he's going to live for so long. But like he's often here because whenever I'm babysitting him, I like to schedule hackathons to make sure that I stay at home. So he's always there off camera whenever I'm doing a hackathon, usually like a first person hackathon, the ones that are run by MLH. So then I like to show him on stream, but he's always sleeping whenever I'm there, whenever I start streaming. And surprisingly, he doesn't usually cause an issue like barking during the screen. He's a very quiet dog as well. But let's get back to the code. Let's see. So the next thing we have to do is make it so, let's see, let's rerun it to double check what's going on. So we have the ball, we have it move. Now we need to make it bounce off the walls. So you don't have to make physical walls, but I want to make physical walls because I would prefer to see the walls. So let's see. So I'm going to create a top wall and a bottom wall. And since the walls are just staying there, not moving, there's not as much code there. So I'm just going to create them individually. I'm going to create that down here under the keys stuff. I'm going to do, this is the wall code. I don't know why that was in all caps. But I'm going to start with the bottom wall since it's the one the ball hits first. I'm going to do wall bottom equals Pygame. And then we're going to have to draw the rectangle again, my least favorite part. Now let's set the color of the walls to blue because it's a nice and calmer color. And then we can do pygame.rect as we always do. As Adam said in the chat earlier, pygame.getRect. Pygame.rect. And then in the parentheses, we have to have our x-axis. So the bottom wall is going to be at the very bottom of the screen, which is going to be at pixel 600. But if we're going to make the width of the wall about, let's say, we'll make the width of the wall 50. So we're going to make it 550. If you want me to explain that math, let me know and I'll help explain that math, but I don't really want to explain that math. It was too much for my brain to think about again. But then now it's asking where we want it. Oh, that's what the y-axis should be, 550. On the x-axis, I want it to start at 0, just like the very beginning. And then I want the width to be, let me think, I said I want it to be across the whole bottom of the screen, which is 800, so we're going to do 800. And then I want the height to be 50, because that's what we talked about earlier. If we run that, it should have a solid block at the bottom of the screen. And then let's go ahead and just copy this to make the top wall. So then that's going to be still at 0. The y-axis is just going to be 0. I don't know why that took me so long to think about it. And then 850 should also be fine. Yeah, so now we have our top and a bottom wall. That's probably where we'll put our score in as well if we have time. But besides that, now the point of the wall is that we need to make sure we don't hit when the ball hits the wall, it collides off of it. So Pygame has this handy function called collide point. So take the object that is being hit. So we're going to do a wall bottom, and we do if wall bottom equals pygame dot draw dot rect screen. Oh wait, I don't know why I'm redrawing the wall bottom. We're going to do a wall bottom dot collide point. Point isn't capitalized for some reason. I don't know why, but collide point, and then we're going to say if it collides with ball.x and ball.y. Keep in mind that you need to have it so that ball x and ball y are in individual parentheses. So you see the double parentheses I have here because collide point only takes one parameter, so we need to make that into a set. So then we have ball.move y, and then we're going to have the ball move in the opposite direction, so the opposite way of the wall. So the reason why I did it like that is just because I want it to be, if it hits the bottom wall, then let's say like the y is positive right now, it's just going to switch it to negative, and if the y is negative, it's going to switch it to positive. So when I press space, it should bounce off the wall now. And then we can reverse that as well to make it work with the top wall. We probably won't be able to test it, but until we get our player collision working. But then we can just add on wall top here. Collide point. I don't know why I just didn't copy it, but ball.x and ball.y. So this should run. It won't hit the top wall because our player isn't working right now, but we'll be able to see if it's working later. Okay, we're coming up on the first hour, so let's all go ahead and take a break. We'll do a 5-minute break. So on the 05, we'll be back, and everyone refill your waters, take a stretch, look away from the screen for at least 20 seconds, and then we'll be back at whatever time you are, 06. Okay, see you soon. Also, again, as I've said before, let me know if you want to see any portion of the code because I can share that with you at this time. Okay, I'm back. If you're still at your computer and you never stood up, I just want you to know, shame on you. But I'll lead you in stretches right now as we're waiting for the last 3 minutes to arrive. I just went to the bathroom and like drank some water, but now we have the stretches. So everyone go stretch your back out while we wait for everyone to get back. Stretch your knees up. I'm trying to get my split down, but I'm so sore in my legs. I went on a 6 mile hike yesterday since I didn't have any workshops going on yesterday. So now my legs hurt really bad. I can barely move them. You can't really see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to stretch my legs out. Every single time I stand up after sitting for an hour like this, I'm in so much pain. I can like barely stand. Yesterday, after I finished the hike, like while I was in the hike, I wasn't in a lot of pain. But like once the hike was over, we were going to eat, and I was like just walking out around like an old granny. I had my hiking sticks, and I was just using it like a cane because I could barely walk. Yeah, it was 6 miles. We did it in 2 hours and 40 minutes, and we only got lost once. We got lost in the middle of the campgrounds because we went to the Shenandoah Mountains, which are like an hour to an hour, 2 hours away from my house. But it was just really it was a lot of fun. We did it in 2 hours and 45 minutes because it was dark and we had to like sprint it before nighttime. Kind of risky, but whatever. But now make sure you stretch because when quarantine started, I wasn't moving at all because I was sitting at my laptop for like 8 hours a day, and I got the worst back pain from my back just not being able to support itself and never like moving. Oh, and don't forget your neck. Your neck is the easiest to stretch. Just roll it around very slowly, and having it in different positions is just super helpful. Hey, nighttime stretch, Adam. That's like night yoga is a thing, the night owl yoga. You can stretch. Any type of stretching is good for you. And it'll help relax your muscles before bed. Stretching after you work out, even though we're not working out right now, it helps muscles. Yeah, you can do starfish and then or do like the Supermans, even though that's more of a workout than a stretch. Like on your it's like starfish on your stomach, but then you like pull your arms and legs in the air. Also, my room's like really hot for some reason. My candle, I can't grab my candle because it's too hot to show you, but it's like just has the ittiest bit of wax. I'm trying to finish it up. Oh, someone's going on a workout after this workshop. I was planning on doing that too. We'll see. It'll be 7 p.m. where I am. Okay. Stretching time is over. Back to work, everyone. Oh, scoop my chair in. Okay. So, where are we? I forgot what code we've written so far. Okay, yeah, we have a ball. It bounces off the walls. So now we need to make the ball bounce off the players as well. Oh, wait. I cannot hold this candle. It is so hot. One time on camera when I was doing an internship, I was holding a candle because I have a really weak sense of smell. So I can barely smell things unless they're like right up in my face. But I was holding it right up in my face, and on camera, like in a work call, I had my hair down and my hair caught on fire and it burnt all the way up and like burnt half my eyebrow off. And I had like eyelash extensions on that I got done professionally, but they burnt off as well. So I had lost my eyelash extensions that I just got done because I burnt them off with the candle. But on fire, like on camera, you can just see me like stop, drop, and roll because I was literally on fire. I have pictures of it, but I can't pull them up right now. But anyway, back to the code. Let's see here. Yes, colliding with the player. So since the player is a class, we do have to do some things to make it a little more complicated. Notice I do a return here when I draw. That is because, go over to the player code. What we're gonna have to do is actually save the player data here. Because as you can see, when we made the wall code, we did wall bottom, we got all the information on that, and then we did wall bottom dot collide point. But for the player ball, for the player, we can't just do p1 dot collide point because p1 doesn't have the right information. It's an object. So we need to save the return value of p1 dot draw, which is going to just be the return value of this statement. And that is the information that we'll use for the collide point. So player 1 data, and then we need player 2 data. I don't know why I didn't just do P1 and P2. I did player 1, player 2. But now we can go over here. Where do I want to add this at? Let's see how much code this is. So I'll go ahead and write it a little under here. I'll do player collision code. And then we're going to do if P1, wait, if player 1 data dot collide point. Dot collide point, and then we're going to do the same thing as we did before, ball dot x, comma, ball dot y. Then we want to do ball dot move x this time. I can spell move x equals negative ball dot move x. And then we're not going to be able to see anything with this unless we can hit it back to player 1. So we need to add or, and then change this to player 2 data. So let's run that and make sure it works. That didn't work out right because I don't know if it was I missed or what happened there, but let's do one more for data purposes. Okay, so it worked out that time. It somehow got stuck in the middle of my piece that time. You can see an example of how bad I am at that because I just missed. But let me try one more time to make sure it works with both. Okay, got one. It hits the same points every time, so you think I'd be good at this. Okay, it looks like it's doing everything right. It's hitting off both the walls. It's hitting off both the players. We have proof of that now. And that's good, and I actually played pretty well. So that's like the very base of the game. So now the more difficult thing is actually calculating the score. So we're gonna have to start with a little score displaying. I need to look up how to display text in Pygame because I forgot. But besides that, it's going to be pretty easy because we can just do if the ball passes the x-axis of the player or just goes off this, like if it's negative something for the player one or like positives or greater than 800 for player two. Then we add a point and reset the ball. But let me look up real quick how to do that. So this part I don't have pre-prepared, so we're going to have to wing this a little bit, but it doesn't look too hard. So we'll start with this. So test this out real quick. We're going to go to the top over here, always after the screen fill function. And we're going to do pygame.display set. Let's try this one first. Set caption. And then we'll set this to, or let's, instead of using set, I want to see what the difference between these two functions is. So we're going to do set caption. And we're going to set the caption as caption text. And then let's do another one where we do text equals font dot render. And then we can do font text. Oh, first we have to have this code that they have over here. So it's font equals pygame dot font capitalized. And then they use this one, which is, I'm just going to use the one that they use in the tutorial because I don't know the name of a lot of text fonts on my own. I hope I don't need to download this file ahead of time. We'll see. And then 32. Let's see how this works. And font.render, font text, comma, true, comma, it says, and they just have like green and blue here. What is green? These green and blue pairs. I can show you what I'm looking at. Oh, they just have two different color codes. I wonder why. Oh, I just closed out of it. Let me open my history and get that. Question in the chat: do I have any cure for blocked noses? Wait, let me think. I feel like I usually just take a hot shower, but something in the past. Oh, you can also take Mucinex. I have a lot of Mucinex. Maybe I shouldn't be recommending pills to people, but it's over the counter here. So usually when I take like if I have like during allergy season, I just take Mucinex before bed, and then I'm usually fine. I never have a blocked nose or anything. I'm gonna set this to 0 and 0. I don't know what the second color is for. Let's go ahead and set it to the same. No, not the same thing. We'll do 100, 255, 0. If I don't get here, we haven't put the location yet. Oh no, it looks like they're making another rect. Getting another rect. So then they do this. They do text rect dot get rect. This sounds like a lot of steps. And then they center it, which I'm assuming they do this all in split sets, but I'm assuming this is just the x-axis center. So we'll do 400 and then 300. And then we have to actually display it. So they use the blit function for that. I'm going to go ahead and draw it. Oh, we're already in here. So I'll just do it here. Display underscore, oops, I'm using caps now. Display underscore surface dot blit. text underscore text rect. Let's see how this works. This did not work. Okay, display surface is not defined. Display underscore surface. Oh, it's because in our code we just use screen. So it would just be screen.play. Oh, that actually looks okay. Okay, yeah, let's do this. Oh, wait, where did the caption thing go? I want to see what the caption looked like. I don't see the caption anywhere. Oh, its caption text is up at the top. Cool, that's like the header. So let's keep caption text then. Let's take this out and put it outside of the function right under where we do the balls. This is a fun thing. And we can do Pygame Pong. Nice. So now when we run it, it says Pygame Pong at the top. So sweet. So let's redo this now so that it does the right text. So we can do score. Let's do two. Let's set up two fonts. Player one. I'm thinking, is there a way I can do a variable here? Player one space plus plus score one. Let's try that. And then let's just quickly set a variable that says score one equals 0 here and see how this looks. And then move it over to the top. I want to have it set to, let's say, x-axis still at 400. Let's do like 300. And then let's set this to 10. Can only concatenate into 3. Okay, so this needs to be quote 0. Do that real quick. More errors. No such file or directory. Oh, I changed the font instead of the. Let's just undo all that. I changed the font instead of the font text. And any of you will tell me, come on. So we're gonna do player one colon space plus 0. Oh, and I have to recenter it. So let's do 400 still. So then let's move it down to 10. Actually, let's change 400 to 300. Oh, I can't see it. So let's do 300 0 maybe. See where it appears. No, not looking good. Okay. 300 400. Okay, it's at the bottom there. Wait, this is the y. Oh, it's because wait, the y-axis I want to be at the very top. So let's do 100. Oh, it's a little up higher. I don't know why 10 wouldn't work. 10 should still be on the screen. But let's go ahead and just do 50 and see how that works. Oh, it's because it's under the block, of course. So let's move this to the very end of the code. So it's behind where the wall is created. And let's do 10. But if you didn't catch what happened there, it was just that I had created the wall code. I had drawn in the font, but then I drew in the wall over it. So now we need to draw the wall and draw the font over it. So that looks better, except it's so high up. So we're going to do 30 as the point. That looks okay enough. So now let's see if we can repeat that. Okay, so we'll do that, and then we'll change 30 to 400. We'll change it to 500 actually, and change this to player 2. Okay, now we have two scores at the top for player 1 and player 2. But let's think this through here. If we have, so now we need to make it so the score updates whenever the screen goes off. So at the very top of the code where we draw everything, let's make a score variable. Oh wait, no, let's make the score variable outside of this loop so it doesn't get rewritten back to 0 every time. So we'll do score1 equals 0, and then score2 equals 0. Let's set score2 to 1000 for now, just so we can make 100 for now, so we can make sure we're using two different variables and make sure we know exactly what is happening here. But let's set this to the score2. Score2. How do I set something to string? It's just parentheses. In Python, it's just parentheses and then stir, right? And then over here, we do stir, and then what do I call it again? Score1. Now let's run it. So everything's working right there, and we can, and then it should be as simple as just having a if statement. Let's do the if statement before we actually draw the font. It could be it could be either way, but this is just I want to do it. I want to have it before the font code. But let's have if ball.x is, let's start with players 2's since they're the first player. If ball.x is greater than p2.x, then that means it's to the right of p2. So we need to set player, we need to do score 1 plus equals 1. Now, if everything's working out right, as soon as the ball goes behind player 2, the numbers should just start shooting up. Oh no. I don't know why it's going so slow now. I changed part of the code, but the number is shooting up, so that means our score is working correctly. How did I change the ball move code? I'm trying to see if I did anything to update it there. Ball move. Looks the same. Is it just being super slow? Okay. Let's increase this to 0.5. Now it's much faster. Maybe I'm just getting used to faster speeds now. Cool. So, now we need to make it so the score does not shoot up like crazy. Let's do it so if this happens, we also want the ball dot x to equal this what it was before when it was initiated. What is it when it initiates? We want the ball x to equal 400, the ball y to equal 300. Y equals 300. And then we want the game to stop. So what was our game start variable that we created before to start the game to get the ball to move? We want to set that to false again. So if all is right, then it should shoot off the screen and then just come back to the center like it did. Okay, I think we can set the player 2 score back to normal again. Now let's fix up that next part of the code one more time. I wrote up here. So we can just copy that function. I like to change it to an else if just to show they're connected. And then we can do if this is less than player1.x, we want the player 2 score to go up. Now I have to actually play well. Okay. I think it shoots here first. Yeah. Ooh. Okay, it worked. Oh, but now I have to play back, play back. Okay, there. Yeah. So now both our teams are increasing. So we'll do one more thing before we call it a finished code. We'll do an actual game win screen. So we'll do if a player earns 5 points, then it means that they won the game. So to do that, we can just add one little if statement of code, and we can do if, what is it? We're gonna have to make another text again. Go back to where I made my text. I'm gonna make my text. Oh, at the very right by where I was working. Let's make one more text. Oh, I guess I don't need a right font every single time. Let's make this text called uh game over. So the game over one can look the same. I think let's do invert colors for the game over. Green text with red background. Christmas. Then you can do, let's see. Let's start it at the center of the screen just so we can make sure everything's working. Let's just run this and make sure it's working right. Okay. So that's working. So let's set it to do if score 1 is greater than 5 or score 2 is greater than 5. And what we want to do is, well, first of all, let's set this text to be at -100, just so we don't see it automatically. And then let's change it so that, let's see if we can do, let's change this variable to text game equals, and then let's do text game. Let's change this to text game over. I realize these two probably shouldn't be the same variables, but since we're low on time, I'll go ahead and keep them the same variable. But let's do text game over dot center, and let's move it to the center. So I think that's 400, 300. Let's see if that works real quick. Oh, wait, -100 is right there. Is that like that? Oh, it's because I have text direct here. Text game over. Okay, I think that's working right. Let's run it so one of the players gets the right score. Oh, tuple object is not callable. So that's coming from this function, this right here caused the problem. Oh, it's because I need to set this to equal. Should be better now. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we're having a problem here. Okay, let's see. So this code definitely ran. Oh, I have to blit it, of course. And blit the text. One more time. This is why I set it to 5 instead of something more reasonable. And then we have our game over up. And the ball comes back to center, which is cool too. Okay. Is there a way so the ball goes left sometimes to begin instead of always right? So Python does have a random, I'm pulling up the question right here, but Python does have a random function that you can use. So you can set the let's see, where in the code do we set the ball X and Y? Like right now, it's just set to whoever loses gets the ball first. But if you want to do that, you can use the Python's random function, which I think is what it was, a Python random function. What is it? Arm by arm range. Forgot how to get a random number in Python. Oh, random.random. I think you have to import random first. So import random. And then returns the next one in number of 0 to 0, -1. And I believe you can just do like get a random number of 1 or 2 or something, of 1 and 2 or something. And if it's 1, then make it go left. And if it's 2, then make it go right, is what I was going to suggest. Let's see if we have a little time, so I can try to implement real quick. Yeah, to answer this question right now, it's using it, to answer this question. It's right now it's going left because the player on the left lost. I can show. But if it's player on the right lost, then it should go right first. Oh wait, switch that up. It's going right because I just confused my left or rights, but you got the idea. And someone's saying you could randomize the velocity of the ball. That would also be good because you can get the ball to go different speeds, which would be nice too. But like the import random function is the function you're going to be looking at, and Python has a description of how these work here. I can send the link, but you can just randomize variables, and since it like the variables are randomized, it'll just allow you to do a lot of things the players would find unexpected. But I was thinking like ways you can continue working on this project is you can do it so like you can have a hard mode where you can add to the class where you can customize the heights of the players, and in the really difficult games you can have one of the players have a really small square and the other player can have a really large one. Like easy mode could be a really big player and the hard mode could be a really tiny one. But I'm going to go ahead, since the next workshop, I don't remember who it is, but it's going to get ready to start soon. I'm pulling up this comment so everyone could take a look at it. But I'm going to make a paste bin for this so you all can have access to my code since my GitHub is locked right now. I try to be safe, but then I ended up being so safe that I can't get into my own account, which is not the fault of GitHub at all. I should have been more prepared when I reset my phone. It was funny too because I had my phone. I'm like, okay, I know for sure I have all my pictures moved off. There's nothing else I need on this phone. Reset. And then 30 minutes later, I was like, oh shoot, I have all my two-factor information on there, and there's no way for me to move my two-factor login information over. But this one's gonna be my Pygame Pong game. Create new paste. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop the paste bin right there. So you all can save it and have access to it if you're still working and want to have just like some base code. But anyway, thank you all for coming. Take one last sip of water in honor of the hydration workshop. And have a fun time the rest of the week. I'm not going to be doing any more workshops, but I hope to see you all at a hackathon or next time we do workshops near you all. So thank you all for coming. Don't forget to check in one last time, because if you don't check in, then your guild won't earn points. Petition to rename it to Paste the Recycle. You should go email them, Adam. Go email them and let them know. Come party in Valhaj game. I gotta go to the gym, but maybe I'm in the Discord. I'll drop in. We'll see. But thank you all so much for coming. Kisses, blah, blah, blah. Now time for me to try to end the broadcast for 10 seconds and smile awkwardly at the camera.